I just don't know if that aggressive was necessary.
This video shared on social media showing multiple officers hitting a man who appeared to be pinned down. That's now led to the Ogden Police Department investigating those officers' use of force.
Frankly, I've never done house falling off the mountain before as mayor, so it's a new era for me too.
Plus, we have an update from the mayor of Draper about the disaster happening this weekend in his city, where 2 homes slid off the side of a cliff. What's happening now to neighboring homes in the area?
More active radars. We have a storm coming in 2 ways. First hitting southern Utah, then northern Utah. So when does the Wasatch Front see the rain, and how long will it be sticking around? We'll let you know.
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13 News at 9 starts right now.
And thanks so much for joining us tonight. I'm Amy Nay. Our top story at 9, an incident caught on camera. You see it right here. Multiple Ogden police officers striking a man while he appeared to be pinned on the ground. It has prompted the Ogden Police Department to investigate their officers' use of force. Fox 13 News reporter Chris Arnold spoke with a bystander who captured most of that incident on video.
My jaw was dropped.
Emotions expressed by Keaton Fuller.
Thing that I've only seen on TV, and then happening it right in front of me, I'm like, whoa.
As he was leaving the Mr. Car Wash off 17th Street in Ogden around 6 o'clock Saturday night. That's when Fuller says he saw a man backing away from an Ogden police officer who was slowly following the man in his car.
And then a second later, the man tried booking it across the street, while the police just came and chased him right over here.
Fuller says he saw the man who was being chased by police turn around, either getting ready to fight or defend himself. It was at that moment, Fuller says, he grabbed his phone and started recording.
When I looked back up, next thing I know, seemed like 4 cops already on top of him, pinned down. And I have no idea what he did or like if he had any like lethal stuff, but the cops were definitely throwing some blows at him.
Well, Fox 13 News did reach out to the Ogden Police Department earlier today. Shortly afterwards, the department posted a statement on Facebook saying they were aware of an incident involving use of force by their officers. They went on to say that before the video was even shared with the media, they had launched an after-action use of force investigation.
I've always said this, is that any use of force by the police is not going to look good. It doesn't mean it's not justified.
Chris Bertram is a retired deputy chief with the Unified Police Department.
I think through my career in 25 years, we were taught to do distraction strikes. And I think that's another important discussion as to what those officers have been trained to do.
What isn't clear in the video, Bertram says, is whether the man on the ground was handcuffed at the time or not.
If this individual, this is prior to handcuffing, we would imagine that we would, again, our policy that I was trained with, our training was consistent with strikes or distractions prior to being taken into custody. If the individual's in handcuffs, then that goes to a completely different level because that is a civil rights violation.
Bertram says it is important to note that this video only captures a moment in time.
There's something that happened before that led up to those officers using the force, and then there's something that happened after it. There's going to be an outcome, an arrest, charges, things like that. We're going to want to know everything in that context.
I wish I knew the reason why they were aggressive even after he was pinned down.
In Ogden, Chris Arnold, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Well, there you see it. And tonight, we have an update on that neighborhood in Draper where these 2 homes dramatically slid off a cliff this weekend. City officials say the 2 homes surrounding the homes that fell on Springtime Road have been condemned after they were evacuated because they were in danger of collapsing as well.
Our order to move them out was because we were concerned that they weren't safe homes. The doors wouldn't open. They'd come down to the point where you couldn't open doors and windows. So, prudently, we had them out. They weren't, obviously no one wanted to be removed from their home, but we thought it was the safe life and safety call to make.
The city says some people have been caught trespassing in this closed-off area. They say anyone who does this is subject to a citation from police. The mayor of Draper also said to us that the city does not plan on paying for the damage and that they will continue to follow up with the developer, Edge Homes, about this incident.
What you have here is you have a ravine. This is a fill. So the developer came in and they filled a ravine with fill material. Now, they did it according to their plan, according to what they told us, and according to the use of the material the plan called for, all that. All the documentation about how they did it is right. It's the way it's supposed to be. But obviously, you know, it didn't work.
We are told that members of the Hidden Canyon Estates community will be holding a meeting tomorrow at the Edge Homes corporate office at 6 p.m. Despite this disaster, Edge Homes continues to defend the quality of their homes. Stay tuned to Fox 13 News tomorrow for our continuing coverage of this developing story. Cottonwood Heights police looking for someone who apparently shot 6 windows at the Old Mill Corporate Center near I-215 overnight. You see the damage done there on your screen. Police say multiple clients use this building. So police don't believe any specific businesses were targeted. They're now combing through surveillance video to try to find any leads. Damage is estimated to be around $100,000. If you have any tips to pass along, Cottonwood Heights police are investigating. An 82-year-old man skiing at Snow Basin died after he collided into another skier this morning. The resort says Ski Patrol responded immediately to the scene to provide emergency medical aid. The other skier involved was not seriously injured. And the Snow Basin team issuing this statement saying they are heartbroken by the loss and offer their deepest condolences to the guest's family and all involved. Tonight on Utah's Capitol Hill, members of Utah's Armenian American community gathered to commemorate the 108th anniversary of the Armenian Genocide, which happened 108 years ago tomorrow. It was on that day in 1915 when actions from the Ottoman Empire led to the deaths of an estimated 1.5 million Armenians. The event featured speakers, musical performances, and a candlelight vigil, providing an opportunity for people to come together in remembrance and solidarity.
It's very important to us, and we will continue to do so until the entire world, all governments, accept the genocide that it did occur. So finally our descendants, our ancestors can finally rest in peace.
But even today, it continues to the east in Armenia, on the borders of Azerbaijan and the land we call Artsakh, where our people still live.
Clark Aposhian, who you just heard from, says the local Armenian community plans to speak with lawmakers at the state and federal level to urge everyone to recognize and accept the events of the Armenian Genocide so that something like this never happens again. Lovely dancing there tonight at the Mid-Valley Performing Arts Center in Taylorsville. People could check out a presentation of classical, Indian dance and live music. The performers at the Kaladara Dance School put this on as part of their annual showcase of one of the 8 classical Indian dance forms.
I think these kind of presentations increase the awareness of cultural groups and cultural communities that are existing in Utah.
That's so beautiful. The Kaladara Dance School plans to have their next event in November. If you'd like to check it out, if you want to learn more, you can get connected with them online on Facebook. Time for us to take a live look right now at Beaver, where we're seeing a mix of rain and snow falling, a stark contrast to some of that sunshine we saw here in the Salt Lake City area earlier today, but the weather's changing, Brack.
It is changing. We've been seeing it mainly towards central and southern Utah. A transition in the afternoon hours where our next storm system coming through. First wave, though, bigger focus central and southern Utah. That's where we're seeing a lot of green, even some yellows, with some embedded thunderstorms that have been tracking through. Earlier on, we had a wave which is now turning towards southeastern Utah, dissipating just a little bit, but then the second wave behind it is producing, as you can see with those lightning strikes, thunderstorms that track through Beaver, Cedar City moving eastward, now making their move over towards areas such as Panguitch, and will continue to make us move eastward, where that will potentially impact areas such as Escalante over towards Bryce Canyon. And like we saw previously, Torrey, Loa over into Capitol Reef before it starts moving over towards southeastern Utah. So even as we look with this line of thunderstorms, there's another one developing that'll be making its move here, potentially impacting areas such as Milford, maybe as far north as Delta, and looking like we might even see some activity towards the southern end of the Wasatch Front in the overnight hours. As we take a look at your forecast for tonight, then for the Wasatch Front, mostly cloudy skies. As with those clouds, temperatures don't drop too much. There's a slight chance, even in Salt Lake City, that we could see an isolated shower. We get things really going, though, here across northern Utah with another cold front that'll push through for tomorrow. As it does bring the rain, for the mountains, it looks to bring some snow, even some thunderstorms. How long will that storm last? I'll let you know coming up.
Also coming up, running for a cause, what one man from Kimball Junction is doing to inspire others to give the gift of life. And a sign of encouragement, what one man from Eagle Mountain does when he goes out for a jog and the impact that he is already seeing. We'll be right back. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. I'm Amy Nay. We turn to a Fox 13 News exclusive right now. And for one Utah marathon runner, the journey of running became about helping others, whether it was from those suffering from mental illness, just having a bad day, or in need of a smile. He made it his mission to try to help them. Fox 13 News reporter Spencer Joseph shares his story.
When you're not in running shape, it's hard. I'm not athletic by nature. Any athleticism or skill I have has all been earned.
On the streets of Eagle Mountain, you might find Benjamin Line out for a run.
You just have to do it and then do it consistently for a bit, and then you get into some sort of shape, and then you can enjoy it.
While he's a pro at it now, running didn't always come easy. It started with running with a neighborhood friend.
I thought, he's crazy. Why would anybody do that, right? And then it was like a competition, and so I got better at it after a while.
Marathons and training followed. But when he was out for his runs, he started to notice something.
As people drove past me and I'd look at them, you could see on their face, probably don't want to be doing it right. Like, what can I do to motivate?
Thinking more and more, while out on a run last February, it hit him.
It was like, I say it's like a hammer over the head. It wasn't, knocking me out or anything like that, but it was like, I really need to do this.
Taking inspiration from his kids.
I ran a marathon years ago in Salt Lake, and my kids were little. My oldest two made a sign for me, and it says, "Go Daddy Go," right? And they drew a picture on it. And I know my wife has a poster board up there in her craft room, and went up there and asked for some, and she gave it to me, went downstairs and decided, I believe in you was something that resonates with me. I didn't tape all of it the first time. And then I realized, crap, I better cover this thing. So I kept putting tape on it. Like, nobody's done, I tried to look and see, has anybody done this? No one's really done this.
Every time since he's carried that sign.
Kids walking to school liked it, and people honking, waving, yelling, some people hanging out the windows, right? All of these things. All right! We all need it and we appreciate it. No matter how our life is going. If our life sucks, we really need it. If it's not, we still need it.
What started in Eagle Mountain spread to social media, inspiring him to take his message all over the world.
I've been to Paris, so I ran with it in Paris, made a new sign. Back in February, went to Spain and did that there as well. Actually went on a running tour.
And every new country or new place he runs, he gets messages about how his simple message helps.
With all those stories that come in, people posting, and then I've got some other people to do it as well, and people post about them, and they think I'm each other, and it's great.
Even if a few people might make a face now and again.
I only get a couple of, I don't know what they're thinking when they do it, so I don't want to judge them, but they're probably thinking, weirdo.
So now that his running has taken off, there's a bigger goal to reach for.
My goal is to have at least somebody like me in every city.
But for a non-athlete turned runner turned motivator, it's now a drive he doesn't think he will soon stop.
Until my arms and legs fall off and my heart stops. So,
Spencer Joseph.
If I can't run, I guess I could get in a wheelchair.
Fox 13 News.
I'm going to do it as long as I possibly can.
Utah.
I love that message. If you would like to follow Benjamin in his running journey, you can do so on social media. Just do it under the username Runner Guy with a sign. We also have a link up on our website to all of his channels. Tomorrow at 3 p.m., workers at the Salt Lake City Public Library will be announcing their intent to unionize. It would be the first library union in Utah. The group would cover about 345 employees. The union's organizers say workers want to address a lack of transparency and the staff having no voice in decision-making. They're also concerned about safety, wages, and health care issues. A man has filed a proposed class action lawsuit against Cottonwood Heights and Holiday for using private contract attorneys. The suit says Utahns have the right to be prosecuted by public attorneys since private law firms have no accountability to the public. It seeks to return money to those who have been convicted to pay a fee. It would also clear their records of anything tied to these prosecutions. So far, either city has responded to the suit. Salt Lake County flood control crews are working on clearing debris and delivering sand. They are focusing on Emigration and Mill Creek areas. The county also asking people to move yard furniture or other items that could be washed into the stream. They also ask people to clear storm drain grates near their houses. Some 7,000 runners made their way through the streets of Salt Lake City this weekend for the 20th annual marathon. But for one group, this took on special meaning. Matt Kavanaugh from Kimball Junction ran with his organization 1K12 as a way to advocate for kidney donation. He is a living donor and says it did not slow him down one bit. Now running 12 marathons this year all across the country. He said there is one thing that unifies all living donors.
Living donors are everybody. You know, they're not, some donors are runners like myself, and I can tell you personally, I've felt a second wind in my life after donating. More motivated to get up and get out and to live life to every single last inch of it.
According to DonateLife.net, more than 100,000 people are waiting for life-saving transplants. 85% of those are waiting for a kidney. This month is National Donate Life Month to raise awareness of that need. If you would like to find out more about Matt's journey and possibly more about kidney donation, you can go to 1K12.org. Today was the final day of Snow Basin ski season, and the resort said goodbye to this unforgettable year with an epic party. Guests were welcome to come out for their closing day Basin Bash, an 80s themed extravaganza on the mountain. Also some live music from an 80s tribute band, the Breakfast Club, costume contests, food and drinks on the patio as well.
Our original record was 475 inches of snow. We are over 600 inches for the season. We've also had the longest season we've ever had, 157 days total. And we get to share what we love, the mountain that we love, the terrain we love, with more guests in Utah. We even had visitors from every 50 states.
The ski resort even extended their season by a week due to the amount of snow. Looks like everybody was having a good time out there.
An 80s theme party are always the cool thing, right?
Oh, they are. They're the coolest, the 80s band.
Mullets and the bright colors, the pit vipers.
They're perfect. It's all coming back. It's
way
all
to
hip
celebrate.
again
It's
now.
like when I was in the 80s, you celebrated the 50s, you know?
Yeah, now they're celebrating our generation.
Something to celebrate, that's for sure. Hey, we'll be celebrating, I think, by the middle of the weekend that we'll see some warmer weather, some sunshine. We got a little taste of that today here across northern Utah as temperatures were warmer, close to average. We brought in some clouds here across northern Utah throughout the afternoon, and we brought the rain and thunderstorms through central and southern Utah. I want to share a video coming up on our Facebook page. A cool capture there. Look at that lightning strike there. Actually, 3 of them in Cedar City. Having that porch camera just be able to capture that, wow, got the timing just right. So that was neat. As we continue to see this type of activity towards central and southern Utah, and we might get a little snap, crackle, and pop overnight that might keep you awake there across portions of central and southern Utah as well. Now, as I look today, Salt Lake City high 62. On average, we should be in the mid 60s. We're going to be going down a little bit before we go back up, and we'll be looking at temperatures above average as we look towards the middle, towards the end of the week. Now, across the state where we brought in those clouds, a little cooler across areas such as Logan and Ogden in the 50s for those highs, near 60 degrees in Provo. Before we saw the rain and the thunderstorms in west central Utah, we did make our way up into the 60s, only upper 70s in St. George today. Right now here along the Wasatch Front, mostly cloudy conditions. We're finding temperatures still in the 50s with those clouds in place. Looks like temperatures don't drop as much as we saw this morning, in that we'll be looking at overnight lows in the 40s. And from the Storm Prediction Center, we knew it would be an active afternoon through the evening, particularly west central, southern Utah, even turning towards southeastern Utah, as this will be the storm zone in the overnight hours. But when we transition into tomorrow, the focus changes. A cold front will track in, bringing some instability and some moisture across northern, northeastern, and portions of southeastern Utah for tomorrow. You'll be drying out in the areas today that you are seeing active weather, at least currently. So that's going to be the change. A bigger focus in other spots as we'll be some rain and those scattered thunderstorms. But again, right now, that line of thunderstorm activity just tracking east of Cedar City. I mentioned impacting Panguitch over towards Bryce Canyon in its sights, Escalante moving up towards Capel Reef, and then making its move over towards southeastern Utah as we get past midnight. Once you push further northward, and it looks like mainly Fillmore northward, not much going on right now, but doesn't mean we won't see any activity. You can see another line of showers tracking through Ely, heading through the state. That potentially could impact areas such as Nephi southward, and maybe even getting up as far north as the southern end of the Wasatch Front, so Utah County near Juab County. But again, Wasatch Front tomorrow afternoon, we start to see a better threat of those showers and thunderstorms. So looking at the computer models, again, the focus near Cedar City, moving eastward, potentially reaching Hanksville, portions of Lake Powell, then moving towards Blanding. And then tomorrow morning, we're waking up just to a few isolated showers in southeastern Utah. The clouds tracking through, we start seeing the front coming in. There, as you see that green, even a little bit of yellow throughout the Wasatch Front, just in time for the afternoon commute. We could see some wet roads. Then we get a little bit of wraparound flow there, cold northerly flow, as that will bring snow to the mountains and even drop snow levels close to the benches. I think we'll keep the valleys where we'll see mainly rain, but it's going to be kind of a cooler start heading into Tuesday, and maybe even seeing some scattered showers as we head into Tuesday afternoon before this storm pushes away. High pressure builds in, and we see a nice warm up as we go Wednesday into Thursday. So as we take a look forward to tomorrow, highs in the 60s once again, even mid-60s through central Utah. You're seeing the sunshine through southwestern, south central Utah. St. George, you're in the 80s before you start seeing the 70s. You're keeping it dry and warming up near 90 degrees heading into the weekend. Northern Utah, rain mainly in the afternoon, lingering on into Tuesday morning, slight chance Tuesday afternoon. Then it's clear, sunny. We'll be looking at temperatures reaching the 70s. That's nice spring weather we want to see, but we get a few spring showers for the next couple of days. We'll be back right at the break.
Another new horror movie tried to bring down the reigning box office champ, so wasn't able to scare up a weekend win. David Daniel has early estimates for the top 5 films in theaters.
You made me believe, man.
Air made $5.5 million to stay in 5th place. John Wick Chapter 4 fell to 4th with $5.8 million for a domestic total of $169 million. Guy Ritchie's The Covenant opened in 3rd place on ticket sales of $6.3 million. Evil Dead Rise debuted in 2nd place with a strong $23.5 million.
There's got to be a way out of here.
There's no escape.
There's still no stopping the Super Mario Bros. Movie. The video game-based animated adventure topped the chart for a 3rd straight weekend, earning $58.2 million for a domestic total of $434 million. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
U.S. Special Forces moving in to evacuate the American embassy in Sudan. I'm Trey Yingst in Jerusalem. I've got the details coming up.
Welcome back at National Headlines tonight. More gun violence rattling multiple communities across the country this weekend, leaving nearly 20 people wounded. This comes as 3 Tennessee lawmakers get ready to meet with President Biden tomorrow to discuss the future of gun reform. Shelley Malashi has the latest.
In Washington, D.C., police are searching for suspects in back-to-back shootings Friday night that left 8 people wounded, including a 12-year-old girl.
We're looking for a black sedan, possibly a Mercedes, who witnesses say drove through the block and indiscriminately fired upon the individuals here in LeBaum.
In Texas, authorities are investigating a shooting north of the town of Jasper that sent at least 9 teens to the hospital Sunday morning. It happened just after midnight at a home during an after-prom party. According to police, the victims range in age from 15 to 19 years old. The investigation there is ongoing. And on Monday, the so-called Tennessee Three, the lawmakers who drew national attention after protesting for stricter gun laws in the wake of Nashville's deadly school shooting last month, are set to meet with President Biden to talk about the gun crisis in America.
I think that we need emergency response because we're facing a crisis situation, and that in states like ours, we need help from our national leaders.
It is also to think about, beyond executive orders, what other authority exists within departments and agencies that the president is ultimately responsible for.
According to a recent survey by the Kaiser Family Foundation, worry and fear about gun violence are widespread in the United States, adding more than 1 in 5 adults has had a family member killed by a gun, including suicide. Shelley Malashi, Fox 13 News, Utah.
In more national headlines, retailer Bed Bath & Beyond filed for bankruptcy today. The company says it will stop accepting those big coupons that you may be holding on Wednesday. Instead, Bed Bath & Beyond expects to offer deep discounts on its products as part of its going out of business sales. Profits for Bed Bath & Beyond took a hit after stores closed for months due to the pandemic. The company has been trying to cut costs by closing more than half of its stores since late last year. Apple is reportedly developing a new personal journaling app. Wall Street Journal reporters say they have viewed documents about the new app. The app will have access to a lot more user data than other apps already on the market, including text messages and phone calls. The app is set to work with all iPhone hardware that comes with Apple's upcoming operating system release of iOS 17. In world news, U.S. military forces conducting a special operation to get American diplomats out of Sudan. Despite the international community pushing for peace, there is no end to the fighting in sight. Fox News foreign correspondent Trey Yingst has the latest.
The U.S. moving swiftly to get its embassy staff out of the embattled African country of Sudan, as fighting intensifies between rival military factions in the capital of Khartoum. Special forces airlifting nearly 100 people out of harm's way. No shots were fired during the operation.
We ought to commend the military and the intelligence community for getting our diplomatic personnel out. That was a dangerous mission to take them out by helicopter.
Airstrikes rang out across Khartoum this weekend, despite a temporary ceasefire in place. Hundreds have been killed since the fighting broke out just over a week ago. The Sudanese army and a rival paramilitary force both vying for control of the government. The already impoverished country is now on the brink of a humanitarian catastrophe.
There is no electricity in the city. There is no water in households. Food is fast running out.
The U.S. Embassy is now closed indefinitely. Other countries, including France and the UK, are also moving to evacuate personnel. There are currently no plans to rescue American citizens who are not diplomats. An estimated 16,000 U.S. citizens are registered with the embassy. Those trapped in the country are urged to take extreme caution.
Shelter in place, and hopefully we can find a way to end the fighting, get humanitarian aid, and get our people out.
President Biden has urged an end to the violence, though currently neither side appears close to victory or a peace settlement. In Jerusalem, Trey Yingst, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Coming up, artificial intelligence crossing over into the music industry, how it's being used, and why some music producers support it.
And later in sports, Utah State's Blake Anderson unloads on the new world of college football, a rant perhaps we all need to hear. Plus, the Bees and Utah softball in play as well on Sunday. Those highlights in a bit. You know, a couple days ago, the Utah football program, realizing the need to stay atop the new norm of name, image, likeness, announced a major collective to help pay top talent and get them here. But what about other programs like Utah State that at this point don't have the same booster funnels? The Aggies wrapping up spring practices yesterday, and afterward, USU head coach Blake Anderson unleashed on both NIL and the recent reality of losing players to the transfer portal.
It's unlike anything I've been a part of in this. I mean, it's 30 years for me. It's never been like this. And it's not just us. Every head coach in the country in the college setting is dealing with the same problem. Now, some have obviously more weapons to deal with than others, but it's still a problem. Even at the group of 5 level, this is something we're going to have to figure out how to handle. You never stop. Your roster's never done. You're never safe until you start playing your first game in the fall. So we're going to have to figure out what it looks like here in the Valley at Utah State. What is it going to take to stay competitive in the new college football setting? And I'd love to say that, hey, we've got tons of money in a collective where we can bargain and negotiate with some of these other programs, but the fact is we've got a collective that's not funded yet. And it may not ever be. I don't know. Right now, we got what we got. We got a great program with really good coaches in a great place, and we're recruiting our butts off. It is crazy what we're dealing with, but hey, we signed on for it. We just got to figure it out.
Yeah, if you can believe it, that's not all Anderson said. We'll play the rest coming up on the Fox 13 Sports page. Meanwhile, the Bees finally got off the schneid last night, ending a nagging 6-game skid with a win over Reno. That coming in Game 1 of a doubleheader, but the Bees did falter in Game 2. With the series wrapping up this afternoon, Emmanuel Rivera off the wall, scoring a run in the first for Reno. The Aces adding a 3-run shot at Smiths in the 5th. Phillips Evans doing the damage that time, all part of an 8-0 shutout win for Reno to take 5 of 6 here in Salt Lake. After 4 straight dubs over top 10s, Utah softball dropped 1 in extra innings last night at 9th ranks Washington, scoring first today in the finale. Julia Jimenez knocking in Aaliyah Velarde. The Huskies out in front for most of it, though. Jade Lynn Alchin on the ribby for purple, go to the 6th. Another dose of red. Healthy rip down the line. By the freshman. Haley White scoring Haley Denning, but the UW responds with a jack. Bottom half, Sammy Reynolds on it. 5-3 the final in Seattle. Tough news for BYU women's hoops. Lauren Gustin was not only the Cougars' best player, but one of the nation's most prolific rebounders. The Salem native entering the transfer portal today. Gustin led the country in rebounds this past season and finished with 27 double-doubles. And coming up on SP right after Fox 13 News at 9, all the NBA playoff action from today, including several former Jazz men in action. A look ahead to the NFL Draft, where one analyst offers high praise to Utah tight end Dalton Kincaid. And a bare-knuckle boxer here in Utah is making painful waves across the sport, at least for other people's faces. The quick rise of Jerome Hatch.
A lot to talk about tonight on the sports page.
Yeah, soccer as well, RSL. Utah Royals FC has a new head coach as well. So, lots of stuff.
All right, we'll have it right after the news. Coming up, we'll introduce you to a husband and wife who work around the clock to help save people's lives. Their unique story when we return.
And as we go to break, let me show you what's going on in Bryce Canyon. Some crazy weather. Yeah, those thunderstorms that moved through Cedar City, now roaring through Cedar City, Bryce Canyon, bringing a mixture of some rain and snow. There's a chance of some thunderstorm activity across northern Utah for tomorrow. What else will that storm bring? I'll let you know after the break.
Welcome back. A new baseball video game features the first ever inclusion of players and teams from a league that many may have forgotten about. Rick Damigella has that story.
Swing and a ball lifted in the air, left field, pretty well struck.
MLB The Show 23 naturally has Major League Baseball's current teams and players, but this season marks a franchise first involving the sport's history.
2 pitching combatants are going at it. One was the name of the legendary Satchel Paige. The other, a young player from Cuba by the name of Martin DeHigo.
The new season of the game features the debut of players and teams from the Negro Leagues, complete with commentary from Bob Kendrick, president of the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum in Kansas City, Missouri.
This platform, by far and away, supersedes anything that we could have ever done to drive kids through our doors to kind of gain an understanding of what the Negro Leagues represented.
The Negro Leagues are a very important part of not only baseball history, but also Black history and American history. And we have been asked for years, when are you going to introduce Negro League players into the game? So we needed to figure out an interactive way to introduce them into the game, to be able to educate, enlighten, and inspire.
The result is the Storylines game mode.
By the time John Donaldson gets to the Kansas City Monarchs, he is really beyond his prime, but don't get it twisted.
More than a pinch hit, Storylines content is planned for multiple seasons.
The fact that we conceivably now have 5 years to continue to introduce more unsung stars of the Negro Leagues, people that you should know, but you don't necessarily know them unless you are a hardcore baseball historian. Some of these names you won't know, but it doesn't lessen how great they were. His skill set was incredible. A great hitter who you could rely on to come in and get the job done on the mound as well.
Leveling Up in Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
Well, now to the way that music is created. It's apparently changing. Music producers are now using artificial intelligence, or AI, and most listeners can't even tell. Hannah McDonald from our sister station in Nashville shows us how some producers in Music City are really embracing it.
I love the tools. I love technology.
Nathan Adam is very in tune with what today's music producers are using.
Artificial intelligence, to me, is the next evolution.
At Belmont University, the video and audio production professor uses ChatGPT in the classroom. He says it's just one artificial intelligence-driven software that music producers are utilizing.
Generative AI on the music side is typically creating things that have never existed before, or you're training it based on, for example, like the entire discography of the Beatles and asking it to then write a Beatles-style song.
Adam equates the introduction of AI to the introduction of digital recording.
There was a lot of engineers that literally were paid to use these tools and work on vocals, fix pitch, change time, and they would go uncredited on albums at the time because it was just so hush-hush that any country artist would ever use these things. Well,
it's true, some jobs could be eliminated because of artificial intelligence.
So if you generate generic library music for sound or film, there are already AI tools that can create convincing, wonderful AI music, and they're proliferating by the day.
But Adam says there's always room in the studio for people who think outside the box.
If you use tools like SoundDraw or other AI music generation tools, you're going to have an edge for a long time to come at creating more, better, more interesting, more unique music.
In Nashville, I'm Hannah McDonald reporting.
Pretty remarkable. All right, to their 3 children at home, they're just mom and dad, but at work, they're changing lives every day. And now they're sharing a story about the importance of working hard and finding your true calling. Forrest Sanders has that story.
Step into the game room. And parents Lisa and Avelio say, you need to know something about the family.
There's a little competition in the house.
And yeah, you can enjoy a victory, but you gotta stay on your toes too.
Lisa used to tell me to let him win.
But what do you say to that?
Never.
He always is like, I'm gonna beat him until I can't anymore.
He's still gonna lose.
He talks a lot of smack. So when he beats me, it's fair and square.
Let's get to know the guys. That's the oldest Lucas, middle son Dante, and youngest Maddox. And for mom and dad, all the competition is an encouragement to their sons to be great. Perfect. After all, excelling is something they do every day.
Hey, good morning.
People's lives depend on it.
They are doctors.
Right. They get these few minutes of break together each day. Dr. Avelio Rodriguez, heart surgeon. Dr. Lisa Bellin, breast surgeon.
Breast cancer is a large focus of what I do.
Mom and dad save lives daily out of Ascension St. Thomas West.
We're basically saving lives in the chest, front to back.
See you later.
All right, have a good day. Bye.
Today we're going to be doing robotic surgery. We can do valve surgeries. We also can do bypass surgery using this. Over the last year, we have been able to perform over 300 of these operations using the Da Vinci system, which makes us the busiest program in the country in terms of robotic cardiac surgery.
The parents of Lucas, Dante, and Maddox do important work.
I would say growing up, you don't really realize it because, again, it's so normal.
Today, Lucas is a student at Vanderbilt. Dante is away at Columbia University. And 17-year-old Maddox would love to be a singer-songwriter.
I can do lyrics and beats.
So in a house full of competition, there's also a lot of guidance.
Our job is to support them in whichever pathway they want to take and give them the tools to be able to get their dreams like Lisa and I were able to achieve.
I remember growing up and them saying, as long as you love what you're doing, then we'll support you.
Find what makes you happy. Find what gives you fulfillment and gives you kind of a bigger purpose.
In Nashville, I'm Forrest Sanders reporting.
All right, switching gears back here at home right now. We want to bring you a live look at what's happening in Beaver, the southern part of our state, kind of getting a little mixture of snow. We're actually seeing rain and snow falling in this vantage point. We're looking at, Bryce Canyon area earlier.
Before, that was crazy, right? Yeah, it's still going that way right now. It's coming in waves. This is about the 3rd wave with another line of showers and thunderstorms moving through that area. But northern Utah, don't worry, we'll be getting into the action. We have to wait until tomorrow afternoon.
I was really concerned.
I know. You're missing
No, I was
out?
missing out, missing the party.
Well, it's pretty quiet right now here along the Wasatch Front, Salt Lake City. We're looking at mostly cloudy skies, temperatures in the mid-50s. With these clouds in place, temperatures not dropping too cold. We'll actually be getting down into the mid-40s. There's a slight chance we might see an isolated shower. Really, it's Provo southward, and particularly as you move through central Utah, that's where they're getting getting into the action, as this will be a possibility of some showers and some thunderstorms moving in the overnight hours and then tapering off. Okay, I want to talk about something, snowpack comparison. Where are we at with the spring runoff? I want to look at Ben Lomond Peak. So as we look up near Ogden, you can see on average in that area, we get about 30 inches of water before we start seeing the spring runoff. That means we take all the snow, melt it down. That's how much water we get. That's the typical situation. Of course, this year we know it's been record breaking, getting up to 80 inches now. We've been bringing that snow down, seeing that water push through. We've seen about a 10% decrease or a drop since April 1st. That means we still have 90% to go. And it's 90% of record-breaking snow, which means, yeah, we are still concerned. And right now, as we move for the rest of April through about the tail end of May, this is when it really gets going. And we're going to be heating up temperatures just a bit here towards the middle and end of the week. And we're going to be adding more snow where we don't see it tonight. It's not until tomorrow evening we start to see some snow showers over the mountains, which colder air tracks in even into Tuesday morning, and some lingering snow for the mountains through Tuesday early afternoon. Potentially in some areas, we could be picking up, like Mirror Lake Highway, anywhere between 6 to 12 inches of snow. Cottonwood Canyons potentially anywhere between 4 to 8 inches. And we're seeing the showers and some thunderstorms, as I mentioned, central southern Utah. Seeing that band moving through. Bryce Canyon, I mentioned Escalante would get into the mix. You're seeing that right now. And seeing some blue where the higher terrain, also seeing that snow as temperatures like in Bryce Canyon getting down to freezing right now. We're not done yet. I mentioned coming in waves. We've got another wave which will push through again Cedar City, as you'll get a break in Beaver from the rain, but then you'll have another line with some thunderstorms which might wake you up here as we've been getting that lightning and thunder in that region. But again, we see another batch that potentially could impact areas as far north as Nephi, but then the cold front lagging behind, it gets here tomorrow afternoon. So waking up tomorrow morning, no issues as we look at your hour-by-hour forecast for Salt Lake City. It's in the afternoon, and particularly mid to late afternoon, we start to see some scattered rain showers and maybe even an isolated thunderstorm. So ahead of that, and that front will keep temperatures a little bit close to where we're at today. Low to mid 60s here along the Wasatch Front, 60s through central Utah. Really, though, the showers eastern, southeastern, northern Utah, the rest of the state where you're seeing the activity right now, it'll push away, and we see sunny skies as we look for St. George, where you get a high of 82 degrees. Then some cooler air, but still maintaining sunshine there, as we'll be looking at really warming things up where we get close to 90 degrees for the weekend. Northern Utah, 60s to 50s. We'll have the rain and the thunderstorms, and then pushing away Tuesday afternoon. Then we're clear, warming up. We're near 70 degrees, even low 70s by next week Sunday. We'll be back right after the break.
So glad you joined us tonight for Fox 13 News at 9. We're right back with QuickCast.